Have you ever felt like the more you talk, the less people actually listen? You try to explain, to make them understand, but somehow your words just fade into the noise. Strangely, those who say little seem to hold more power. They walk into a room without saying a word, and yet everyone notices. Their calm presence speaks louder than any sentence could. Silence isn't weakness, it's control. In a world addicted to noise, silence becomes a luxury few can afford. Maybe you've texted someone and waited hours for a reply that never came. In that moment, you realize something powerful. Silence makes people think harder than 1,000 words ever could. But why does silence make you more attractive? Why does it make others respect you more? Today, we're going to explore the hidden psychology behind silence and how mastering it can make you irresistible. Most people think being talkative makes them interesting. But the truth is, attention doesn't go to the loudest voice. It goes to the calmest presence. When you're silent, you're unpredictable. And in human psychology, what's unpredictable becomes fascinating. I've seen it happen countless times in conversations, relationships, even job interviews. The one who knows when not to speak always leaves the deepest impression. That's why silence isn't about being shy. It's about control, self-trust, and emotional mastery. And the reason this matters is simple. People remember how you make them feel, not how much you said. So before we break down the science of it, ask yourself, how do you use your silence? Silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of control. But most people are terrified of silence. They fill every second with noise or afraid of being forgotten. We fear that if we stop talking, others will stop caring. But in reality, the opposite happens. The more you chase attention, the more invisible you become. Think about it. When someone always explains, apologizes, or overshares, do you listen more or less? Silence creates contrast. It gives your words weight when you finally speak. Constant talking is like background music. After a while, no one notices it. But silence? Silence cuts through the noise like a spotlight. Here's the real problem. People confuse connection with attention. They think the more they talk, the more they'll be liked. But real respect doesn't come from words, it comes from presence. Silence isn't emptiness. It's space for others to lean in, to wonder, to feel your energy. The moment you stop trying to be heard is the moment people start to truly listen. When you can't handle silence, you start performing instead of living. You talk to fill the void, not to connect, and slowly people stop listening. You begin to lose mystery. You become predictable, easy to read. In dating, this kills attraction. People don't fall in love with everything they know about you. They fall for what they don't know yet. In friendships, over-explaining makes you seem insecure, like you need approval. And in work or leadership, constant talking erases your authority. People respect what feels grounded, not what feels desperate for attention. But the most painful impact is internal. You lose trust in your own presence. You start believing silence means you're invisible, when in truth, silence is the moment your real power begins to grow. Because silence teaches you to observe, to feel, to respond, not react. So, what happens when you finally stop running from silence? You begin to notice the world differently. The noise that once drowned you out becomes background. You start hearing not just what people say, but what they mean. And that's when everything changes: your conversations, your energy, even how people see you. Because silence doesn't disconnect you, it reconnects you to yourself. And once you master that, you stop chasing approval. You stop oversharing. You begin to lead with presence, not performance. So, how do you master the art of silence without feeling distant, cold, or detached? Let's explore the real steps, the mindset shifts, and habits that make silence your greatest strength. Silence isn't passive, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be mastered. Tip 1. Embrace the pause. Most people rush to respond because they fear silence will feel awkward. Confident people pause intentionally, letting their words settle. The pause shows you're thinking, not reacting. And that's magnetic. Tip 2. Speak less, mean more. Don't compete for attention, command it with clarity. Every word should carry purpose. Empty talk is noise. Intentional words are music. People don't remember chatter. They remember clarity. Tip 3. Control your energy. Silence without confidence feels awkward. Silence with calm energy feels powerful. Your posture, breathing, and gaze speak louder than your sentences. Silence works only when your presence says, "I'm enough." Tip 4. Let silence reveal others. Most people can't stand silence. They rush to fill it, revealing what they really think. By observing calmly, you learn more from reactions than from words. Tip 5. Use silence as a mirror. When you stop reacting, others see themselves more clearly. Silence forces people to reflect, to question their words, tone, and energy. Real influence doesn't come from control. It comes from calm presence. Remember, silence isn't withdrawal. It's strategy. The art of letting your energy speak louder than your voice ever could. There was once a man who always tried to prove himself in every conversation. He talked fast, filled every silence, and tried to impress everyone around him. But the more he spoke, the less people listened. One day, he decided to try something different, to say less, to observe more. At first, it felt strange, awkward even. But then, something shifted. People started leaning in when he spoke. His words carried weight. His colleagues began to ask for his opinion not because he was loud, but because he was selective. Even in love, something changed. He no longer tried to impress. He allowed mystery to speak for him. His silence wasn't empty anymore. It was full of presence, patience, and quiet strength. Because silence is not about saying nothing. It's about saying everything without needing words. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of self. When you stop fighting to be heard, your true voice begins to appear. Most people think attraction comes from words, charm, or looks, but it actually comes from energy. And silence refines that energy. It strips away the noise, revealing confidence in its purest form. People are drawn to calm the way fire draws cold hands. It's natural. When you master silence, you no longer chase validation. You radiate it. Because silence says, "I am enough," and that's the most attractive energy of all. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more presence. So next time you feel the urge to reply too fast, remember, silence is your secret language of power. Stay silent, stay grounded, and let your energy do the talking. Take a moment and think, when was the last time you let silence speak for you? Maybe in a conversation, maybe in love, maybe when someone tested your calm. Silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you understand timing. So, I want you to try something. The next time you feel pressure to respond, pause. Just breathe. Watch how the world reacts differently when you stop chasing and start being. If you've ever experienced the power of silence, share your story below. I'd love to hear it. And if this message found you at the right time, maybe that's not an accident. In a world that keeps shouting, choose to whisper, because silence isn't emptiness, it's elegance. The loudest room will always turn when calm enters. You don't have to prove your worth, just embody it. True power doesn't demand attention. It earns it quietly. So, stay silent, stay grounded, stay magnetic. And remember, your energy speaks louder than any words ever could. Thank you for listening.